Namaste, people. May this message find you in good health and high spirits. Just to let you know that the whole of this video is to do with the people in authority abusing their power with the people that they have been given authority over. What needs to be done to make it stop, how that needs to be done, and when it needs to be done. This has gone on for far too long now, and I'm sick and tired, you're sick and tired. So really, this message goes out to any coincidence theorists, any truth seekers, any light bearers, any freedom fighters, or simply anyone who's just sick and tired of being sick and tired. Again, this needs to stop now. This needed to stop on the 23rd of March, 2020, and it could have. It was easy for 100,000 people to just come around and just stop and block the system. That's it. 100,000 people is less than 2% of this country. But yet we haven't. We've needed time to regroup. We've needed time to organize. We've needed time to get together. The only thing, or the main thing that our enemies have against us is that they plan, they plot, they strategize. They're strategic with what they're doing. We don't. We do a lot of things on a whim, really, and there's no organization. We need to get organized. We need to get together. We need to stick together. We need to come together as the one that we are. That's the only way that this is going to end. Not just saying no, because there's loads of people who are just saying no at home. There's loads of people who are just saying no online, yet they are living, yes, they are living with, okay, do what you're doing. That just needs to end. That just needs to stop. Like I said, this could have stopped on the 23rd of March 2020, but it never. What did happen on the 23rd of March 2001, however, was that Clause 61 of the Magna Carta was evoked by the barons of the land, meaning that it made it our civil right and our lawful duty as free men and women of the land to lawfully rebel, to uphold and upkeep lawful rebellion 21 years ago. And that has not happened. We all know that from just for the past 2 years alone, we've had more than enough reasons, let alone the past 21 years. So now is the time to enact lawful rebellion. Lawful rebellion began on the 31st of May 2021, but there was not enough people to uphold it and upkeep it together. But that's what needs to be done. To the few that disagree with the Magna Carta and say that due to it being obtained under sword point by the barons, that the seal of King John, is not valid. That's neither here nor there, because what we can all agree on is that the principles established with Clause 61 of the Magna Carta are enshrined within the Human Rights Act, within Section 7 and Article 7 of the Human Rights Act of 1998. That's a fact. Section 7 states that it guarantees no punishment without law and that no lawbreaker can be a law enforcer. What? No lawbreaker can be a law enforcer. Guaranteeing no punishment without law. Well, for the past 2 years, there's been a lot of law breaking by the law enforcers. There's been a lot of punishment without law. So that goes out the window. Article 7.1, we're going to get back to that, because Article 7.1b states that any victim or potential victim of an unlawful act by a public authority may bring the relevant authority to the relevant court or tribunal. That's not going to happen. The system is the system is not run correctly. The system is under duress in itself. The system is under oppression. The system has been hacked, and it's never going to work in our favor to adhere to the laws that they are supposed to uphold and stand by. Due to them all having taken an oath to the public office, yet they're all standing by their oath to the private bar guild, which makes them and their behaviour treasonous towards us. Article 7.1 states that any victim or potential victim of an unlawful act by a public authority may use that as a defence in any legal proceedings brought against them, which in plain terms means that we can do whatever we want, literally whatever we want, and use the fact that we've been abused by our government as a defence. Use the fact that Norris Nonson, who has broken the law and is also a law enforcer, has as a defence. Use the fact that the police, who are law enforcers while simultaneously being law breakers, as a defence. So we are literally backed by the Magna Carta and by the Human Rights Act, which is the real reason as to why they want to change the Human Rights Act of 1998. That's the real reason. Whilst everyone's got their eyes focused on the whole injection program, which of course is part of the scheme, no, it's because the human rights allows us to revolt, allows us to rebel, allows us to take back our power. Because we are being abused. We have been being abused for a long time now. And this all needs to stop and this all needs to change. Seriously, people just need to pull their socks up and grit their teeth. And now is the time to see who the phony tough are and who are the crazy brave. Because there is a lot of talking. There is a lot of shouting. There's a lot of murmurs. There's a lot of posting. But there's no actual walking. There's no actual action. We need to stand together as one, united. And that's the only way we're going to do that. How we're going to do that is by blocking the roads, by stopping the system, by stopping the money train, because that is the only thing that they listen to. So we're going to hit them where it hurts them. There is no other way by doing that. Love down is the only way to do that. Love down is the only way to do that. And that's what we're going to do. On the 1st of April, we're going to meet in Parliament Square and we're going to seize Parliament Square together. 100,000 of us easy. We're going to seize Parliament Square and make it ours. With 100,000 tents, there's more than enough space in St. James's Park. We're going to seize St. James's Park too. And we're going to plant fruits, we're going to plant vegetables, and we're going to stay there for the whole of the spring and the whole of the summer until they listen to our demands. What would our demands be? Well, off the top of my head would be to immediately stop any injection programs, to immediately lift any restrictions, to immediately give back any independent or family-run businesses that were lost, to immediately give back any houses or homes that were lost, to immediately compensate anyone who has suffered through this, to immediately imprison Norris Nonson, Piss Halfwitty, Matt Handcock, Unpreety Petal, Savage Javid, all of them need to go to prison. And I'm not talking prison just, you're just in a cell. I'm talking prison. They need to have their human rights abused, used and abused, just like they've used and abused our human rights. Like they need to be put into a cell, handcuffed or hand-tied or however you're going to put it, hand and foot. They need to be fed via injections, so nothing solid, via injections, and they need to be shone light on them, so they are never ever in darkness. Even their hands and their fingers need to be in some type of clamp, so they can't do none of their little hand gestures or anything, and have people sing hymns and songs to them all day, every day. So whatever evil entities or demons they have inside of them will just shrivel up and wither away, and they won't die because it will be they can't leave anywhere. So it will just be tortured. That's what these people need, because they've infringed on our Human Rights Act. Bearing in mind that any infringement or breaks of the Human Rights Act are considered by the Geneva Convention of 1949 to be war crimes. So Norris Nonson is a war criminal. Matthew Handcock is a war criminal. Unpreety Petal, she's a war criminal. Piss Halfwitty is a war criminal. They're all war criminals. They're abusers. And we cannot wait around for them to stop this, because they're not going to stop this. Anyone who's been a victim of domestic abuse will know that abusers don't stop. And anyone who's been a victim of bullying will know that bullies don't stop. That's what they're designed to do. To use and abuse, and they're going to keep on using, abusing, and using, abusing. And just like they're going to use and abuse us, they're going to use and abuse our children, they're going to use and abuse the future generations to come. So anyone who stands proud to say, my grandfather fought in World War II, or my forefathers or my family members, just know that those family members will probably slap you in your face right now, because that 19-year-old boys went over to the Falklands, went over to Normandy, flew over to to France, flew over to Germany. Boys risked their lives and died for us. For us to not want to get up off our couches, for us to not want to come up out of our homes, to get a little bit uncomfortable, just a little bit uncomfortable, for us to not want to lose our jobs. Here's what I say to that. This same government, govern, which is Old French for control or direct, and ment, which is Latin for mind, so to govern your mind, this same government told you to not go to work and earn money, but to still pay your bills. That's what they told you. And everyone's just going along with this. So I'm saying to you now, what you need to tell your government is, I'm not going to work and you are going to pay my bills. Because if 100,000 people don't turn up for work, they can't do nothing about that. There's nothing that they can do. If 1 million people never turn up for work, that's it. That's a wrap. All we need is, I believe it is 3% or 4% of the country to not just go to work. And within 2 weeks, we get what we want. Here's another demand. Rip down all 5G towers. Because whilst the country was in a state of emergency and you were unable to go to work, that state of emergency which allowed them to enact the Coronavirus Act, which puts us in a state of emergency, as in war. So it's like them saying, well, we're in war, but we can still put up 5G towers. No one's thought this is dodgy. Of course, most of you have, who I'm directing this to, but a lot of the public members as well, just, that's a bit weird. They just brush things off, brush things aside. Why? I don't know. But we need to come together. The more of us that there are in one place, the more will come. Seriously. People have got it twisted. People are sitting at home and knowing what's going on. And on weekend, they're weekend freedom fighters. Because they're screaming to members of the public, take off your mask, you sheep. But Monday to Friday, they're at work putting on masks. That is a schizophrenia, basically. It's a form of schizophrenia. To shout at someone, to shout at a stranger for doing the behaviour that you conduct throughout the week. Because you don't want to lose your job. It's the whole thing. Everyone's just feeding into the matrix and paying into the matrix. Use that same energy that you're using on jobs that most of you don't even like or care for. Use that same energy to come together and start a new change, a new direction, a higher plane, a higher level of consciousness for this world. Because that's what can happen. That's what will happen. That's what needs to happen. It is a great awakening. No one seems to be awakening though. Online, the world's awake. But online is not where this is won. If anything, they want you to stay online. Why? Because they can control your feelings online. Didn't you know that? Did you not know? That's why they want people online. That's why they want you to share these fearful posts and these fearful videos.
You don't give a shit about facts. It's all about fiction. The only world that matters is the one in here. And you people believe the craziest shit.
Because they want to keep people in a low vibrational state of fear. That's what they want. So anyone who's doing that but unwilling to risk their lives, and I say risk their life, that's even dramatic because you're not even risking your life. You're literally not risking your life. When we come together, the communities, surrounding communities will look after us. The people who are not there, who will eventually be there, will look after us. It's been done before. It happened in Shepherd's Bush, where people were coming and cooking for us and bringing us food, where people were offering strangers their home. Please come to my house and have a shower. May I take your washing? I'll wash that for you. Beautiful. But that needs to happen on a wider scale, on a bigger scale. Seriously. And saying that, whilst I came up with the idea of Love Down, and I've been singing the same hymn from the same hymn sheet, the same song, since June or July 2020. I was telling a lot of people that this is what needed to be done. But yet, it's an unquestionable and infallible idea. As I was saying, whilst I came up with the idea of it, the beautiful Keely came up with the name of Love Down. It was originally called Love Stops, because our love stops their hate. Keely came up with love down because our love downs they hate and love down not lockdown. The clever Rasha came up with the smiley face logo, which after a few weeks we found out that smiley faces represent love and hope in times of chaos. That is just, that's energy. You can't even ask for that alignment. That's powerful. And the clever Francesca came up with the heart symbol. So it literally is by the people as well as being for the people. It's just now the people need to choose their side. You're shouting at the police, you need to choose your side. Really. You need to you need to choose your side of good, of freedom, of love, of unity, of hope, of togetherness, of prosperity, of strength, or the side of evil, the side of enslavement, the side of tyranny, the side of abuse, the side of weakness, the side of harm, the side of misery, the side of loss. Choose your side. What side do you choose? Saying that about the police, well, many of them know what's up. And I've had several conversations with them, and they've said, we don't stand behind you because there's nothing to stand behind. Which I make them right. Quoting one of them, essentially, you guys just come out for a few hours a day or once a week, you party, you drink, and then you go home. Which is true. They have to live with the consequences of standing behind us because they're police officers through and through. They are part of the system, they're part of the government. So they need something to stand behind. Love Down would be it. Why it was called Love Stops in homage to Woodstock was because the idea of it was to all block the system, put up a makeshift stage, and then say anyone who can sing, anyone who can rap, anyone who could dance, anyone who could perform a spoken word, anyone who can do stand-up, come and perform for the people. And let's just have a vibe. April 1st, April Fool's Day, to show them that they are the fools, is the beginning of spring, the first day of spring. So that's what we should do throughout the spring and throughout the summer, if need be. We'd have a vibe. We bring the children along to show them, most importantly, to show them what is happening and what is being done. And why do I say that? And I stress that so much. Well, my generation and my mother and my father's generation have rolled over so quickly because whilst they can talk about wars with what they learned in school, they had no examples of fighting in wars or standing up against tyranny or abuse. All they've ever known is listen to authority, listen to the government, listen to the school, listen to whoever. Just listen. Yes. No. The children of today need to be shown what standing up for your rights is about. They need to be taught their rights and see us standing up for their rights. So this could never ever happen again. That's the reason it's happened again. Secondly, why children need to be there is because whilst we would be there fighting for their futures, they would in essence be there protecting our present. That's what would be happening. And whilst we are there, we could set up, I say education, but homeschooling tents. Teach them what they want. Teach them what they need to learn. Teach them real physical exercise. What we could also do with 100,000 people there is say, well, anyone who's a nurse or doctor, go over there and talk about how healthcare can be improved. Anyone who's a judge or a solicitor or a barrister, go over there and talk about how the law can be improved. Anyone who's a teacher or a lecturer, go over there and talk about how education can be improved. Anyone who's a serving police officer or former police officer or retired, go over there and talk about how policing can be improved. Anyone who's a banker or a financer, go over there and talk about how banking can be improved. Because the system is not the problem. It's just who's running the system and how it's being run, so we can change the system from within the system. And that's what needs to be done. Talking about banking, did you know that all you need is £400,000 cash to start your own bank? £400,000 cash. That means if we have 100,000 people there, each one we just need to put £4 in. And we have our own bank. We call it the People's Bank. We set our own interest rates up. We do whatever. That's what we could do. That's how easy it is. With 100,000 people there, what we could also do is tell everyone, go onto Google and give Facebook 1-star review, give Instagram 1-star review, give Uber 1-star review, give Nike 1-star review. 100,000 1-stars, you know what that does? It depreciates the company's value on the stock exchange. And like we know, that's what these people care about. That's what these people care about. So that's hitting them where it hurts them. Literally. There's no other way. It's just about all coming together as one. We can literally, we could hold one social media platform as hostage and say, well, everyone jumps on that. We make that one popular. We control, because we are the power. But far too many people are happy singing this and chanting this. And yes, we are the 99%, but I don't think that they believe it. So I'm saying to the ones who are scared, come with your fear. Please, come with your fear. Bring your fear, and you will see that love and unity and harmony will eradicate your fear. Because fear is not for us to hold on to. It's for us to grab and to use to push us forward into a brighter and better way. And this is the only way that this is going to happen. It's the only way that it can be done. It's the only way that it needs to be done. If you really want it to. Because there is no other way. And whilst there's convoy, this trucking convoy going on in Canada, there's one currently in London, and it's you know, the theory of it, the principle is great, but again, we don't know if it started by the people or started by a government scheme. Nevertheless, either way, it's actually playing into the government's hands. And why do I say that? Because 2 years ago, they were talking about food shortages. What's going to cause and create food shortages? Them having the excuse to say, well, the trucks are not going to where we need them to go to. Take this genetically modified vegetable. Take this genetically modified meat. That's all it does. It gives the government more ammunition. It helps them. Mad. Addressing another issue with the whole Novak Djokovic thing, randomly. This is where people need to actually fix up and perk up their ears and not just share posts. People talk about Djokovic and say, when the people need a hero, we shall supply them with a hero. That was an Albert Pike quote. Albert Pike was a 33rd degree Freemason. Yeah, we know the quote. Check this out though. The NHS workers joined us on the march in December. And yay! And again, the theory of it is great. It really is. But none of them are speaking out. None of them are talking about what's happening. Why? Because the world is a stage. They were never going to sack the NHS workers. Why would they? Think about it. They know all the secrets. They know the truth. So if they were going to sack 80,000 NHS workers, could they guarantee that 1% wouldn't speak out? 1% being 800 people. Okay, even not 1%. Let's just say 0.01%, which works out to be 80 people. Can they guarantee that? No, they can't. They cannot. They can't guarantee just one of them not speaking out. So that was just a facade to play people, because it's feelings that the Matrix uses against you. It's feelings that will have you change your mind about things, because most people aren't in control of their feelings. So guess what? If you're not in control of your feelings, someone else is going to be in control of your feelings.
Here's the thing about feelings. They're so much easier to control than facts. Turns out in my Matrix, the worse we treat you, the more we manipulate you, the more energy you produce. It's nuts.
And that is not what you want, is it? No. Another thing, like Albert Pike said, when the people need a hero, we shall supply them with one. This doctor that spoke to Savage Javid, yeah, all of a sudden, yeah, doctor speaking out, yeah, it's great. Again, when the people need a hero, we shall supply them with one. Why do I say that? Well, for one, I can guarantee you and tell you for a fact that politicians do not speak to people on camera unless they have been prompted on what to say and what's going to be said, and who they're speaking to is prompted on what is going to be said and what they are going to say. Why you know this is because of the examples that I can think of when Piss Halfwitty was approached by a couple of lads in the street. They act one of two ways. Scared, like you saw, like everyone saw, or they just turn into bumbling idiots.
Right. The NHS has been destroyed. It's been destroyed. It's been destroyed. And now you come here for a press opportunity.
Well, actually, there's no press here.
What do you mean there's no press here? Who are these people?
So anyone who believed that was a real life scenario, you've been played again. Because that's what the system does. People think they're all on it and on the ball. It's like people really need to get on it. People really need to open their eyes. Matter of fact, people need to open their eye. Yeah, their third eye, like everyone keeps on posting about, but no one seems to be using. Maybe it's the calcification that people have suffered. I don't know what to tell you. But what I can tell you is that this needs to come to an end now. We are able to make it come to an end. I picked April 1st. One, because I actually wrote something in 2020 and said that we should do it on April 1st. So I just thought, again, that's another alignment. Two, because that was the original date that the nurses and NHS staff were given to get the injection or be fired, which now has all of a sudden not happening. And 3, because it's 6 weeks from today. So that is more than enough time to give people preparation. What I would suggest is that forget any of the marching, forget any of the protesting. Yeah, do your bits of outreach here and there, but save your energy. Store your energy, build it up. Save your money, store your money, build it up. Get your equipments ready. And to those of you who are really adamant about still caring for the Matrix and caring for the system, take 2 weeks off from April 1st. And then we can hit them hard by seizing Parliament Square. And I'll tell you this, from this video's going out, yeah, they might border Parliament Square up. Number one, Parliament Square is not the green, it's the whole entire square. Number two, if it's a wooden board, it will either be ripped down or we'll just bring a chainsaw and cut through it. If it's a metal fence, again, we'll cut through it. The only way that square will be safe, yeah, is if no one shows up, or if they put, and even if we do show up, or even, what I say, words of power, even when we do show up, the only way that's not being seized is if they put bricks around it. They need to cover that up with bricks. That's the only way that they're protecting that, if that's what they're on, because that's not what I'm on, and that's not what you guys are on. And all of you are sick and tired of this. And now we need to make it stop. We need to use April 1st as a benchmark.
To remind the world that fairness, justice, and freedom are more than words. They are perspectives.
Because once we do something, Spain will follow, Germany will follow, Italy will follow, France will follow, the rest of the world will follow. We are the heads of Europe. I know this, and in terms of popular culture especially, I know this because I was fortunate enough to travel to Europe when I was younger, and they always used to be behind us in terms of pop culture and pop references and whatnot, and what was cool. Obviously, things have changed a little bit in social media times and the internet, but still, they're still behind us. Everyone is watching us. Why is everyone watching us? Because the attack is heavy on England. This 3-letter enemy of mankind, I'm not even going to say it, but we all know, needs London or needs England to fall. Why? Because we are the bearers and the upholders of common law. Once England falls, that's it for the rest of the world. So we need to stand strong and stand firm. It's the only way. London is the financial capital of the world. Bring London to a standstill, they'll give us what we want. And why they're gonna give us what we want is because we're gonna force them to give us what we want. There is no talking. We're not going there to talk. We're not going there to march. We're not going there to negotiate. We're going there with demands. All demands will be met. Simple and plain. One, with anyone saying, oh, well, they're discussing changing the human rights in March, yeah, for some time in March, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, that's the whole point. It does not matter what they say. All that matters is what we do. And we make them do what we want. Yeah? Number two, for anyone talking about, oh, what's he talking about? Seizing Parliament Square? How can you do that? You can't do that. Well, in the Magna Carta, it states that you may seize our land, you may seize our castles, you may seize our possessions, all except cause harm to us. That's right. And through the months of Lovedown originally seizing Shepherd's Bush Green, Clapham Common, and Hackney Downs, of the 8 times that we made it into the Royal Courts of Justice, the council were unlawfully granted repossession orders. Now, how do you get repossession orders if you don't possess what you want? Because we had possession, because we were recognised by the law. We were recognised by the state. We were a problem. Now we are going to be an even bigger problem. Yeah. The world is a stage, so let's act on it with action. I don't know what to say. I had a couple other things that I wanted to tell you, that I wanted to say. I was just speaking off the top of my head, freestyling, just from my heart, because, you know, I haven't suffered in this myself on a personal level. 2020 was the best year of my life. 2021 was a good year. And if anything, the suffering and the misery that I had was actually from being involved in all this movement stuff and protesting all of this. But whilst I may not be suffering, I'm seeing a lot of pain, I'm seeing a lot of misery, I'm seeing a lot of suffering, and it doesn't sit right within my soul. And I know that many of you are in the same boat. So let's do something about it. Let's come together. Let's unite like the one that we are. So yeah, I don't know what to say at this point. I'll give you an example of the the facts I was talking about earlier. I would read if people still do that.
So if you've seen nothing, if the crimes of this government remain unknown to you, then I would suggest that you allow
The 1st of April.
to pass unmarked. But if you see what I see, if you feel as I feel, and if you would seek as I seek, then I ask you to stand beside me
6 weeks from today.
tonight, outside the gates of Parliament, and together we shall give them a
April Fools.
that shall never, ever be forgotten.
Peace and love.
The great citizens of a country are not those who bend the knee before authority, but rather those who, against authority if need be, are adamant as to the honor and freedom of that country.
But only here did that little band of men so advance beyond their time that the world has never seen their like since, evolve the idea that you and I have within ourselves the God-given right and the ability to determine our own destiny. Freedom is never more than one generation.
Lockdown, not lockdown. Lockdown, not lockdown. Lockdown, not lockdown. Lockdown, not lockdown. Lockdown! Lockdown! Lockdown, no lockdown. Lockdown, no lockdown.
Are you ready?